Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite presets that I use in Escape from Tarkov. With the upcoming wipe, this might change, but for now, this is what we're going to go off of. So for the first preset, we're going to go ahead and look at one of the best guns in the game, the Mutant. So this is my build, and a lot of people, other people use this build. The stats on this build are right here. Ergonomics 32, 1.7 MOA, 300, 43, and 126. This is the most important part. And overall, it's a very good build. It's not too expensive. The only really hard thing to get here is going to be the QDC, since you can only get 2 of these on restock. But other than that, it's quite cheap with traders. Here's the build for anybody who wants to screenshot and, you know, see it, use it, and I will show you what the build actually looks like here in a minute. So let me build this real fast. So now I've got the Mutant in my hands here. I'm not going to be showing this with every gun since I don't have the ability to do that right now at the end of wipe, but pretty much this is how the gun looks. Very nice looking. You have a nice flashlight, nice scope, and a very useful grip, and I'll test it out here in a sec. So, as you can see, it's quite accurate, not much recoil. Right here I'm going to spray it without controlling it at all. So, that's me not even controlling it. It's quite easy to use, and especially if you're running BP with this thing, you can just tap like this. As you can see when crouching, pretty much no recoil. So overall, it's a really nice gun. I like it, many other people like it, and yeah, that's it for this gun. One of the other guns I really like to use, and I'm going to be showing you one of the presets for it as well, is the M4. So this is my M4 build, the one I use. It's a much cheaper version of the long version M4 that some people use. I personally prefer this M4 because it is easier to use in close range. As the longer M4, you're going to have issues sometimes with the barrel being too long in certain scenarios, like if you're on a stair and you're pretty much against the wall, you're not going to be able to pull your gun out. But otherwise, this is the build. Feel free to screenshot, copy it. It's not too expensive. I think in rubles it's about 200k, around there. Maybe 150, depends on what parts you have and don't. Overall, it's a pretty cheap build, and it's really good. Yeah, here are the stats for it. So you have 35 ergo, 26 and 84, which is a lot better than what we looked at previously with the Mutant. But then again, this is 5.56, so it makes sense. But overall, it's a very great gun build. The only hard part really is going to be the mags. You're going to have to either find these, or buy these on high-level traders. Some people won't be able to do this. But yeah, this is my build that I use, and feel free to copy it. Next gun we're going to look at is the MDR. This is one of my favorite guns in the game, probably the best gun in the game overall for really everything, in my opinion. And this is the build I use personally for labs and things like that, for overall map usage. So as you can see here, I have the Voodoo with the little scope on top. You don't have to have a Voodoo. You can swap this around. You don't have to have this mount either. This is just personal preference, this scope, but everything else you do want to have. So like I said, the QDC, as in the Mutant, this is going to be the only really hard thing to get. Otherwise, it's a quite cheap build. The only thing that's going to be expensive is the actual gun. It is not too cheap. But here are the stats for it. You're going to have 52 ergo, 77 vertical, and 192 horizontal. So it's not too bad. But with this gun, you're not going to be really spraying from far. You're going to be just tapping, since this is 308, and it's going to pack a punch. But yeah, this is the build. Feel free to screenshot, copy it, try it out for yourself. Now we get to the good stuff. This gun, the RD704, in my opinion, is the current best gun in the game in terms of automatic rifles. So out of automatic rifles, you're gonna have the HK, the MDR. I don't count; it's a bit high caliber, but in this range, you're gonna have the MDR, mean, not the MDR. You're gonna have the RD, the AKM, AK-104, M4, HK, Mutant, and really the whole debate is between this gun and the Mutant. But in my opinion, this gun is a lot better, and I'll show you why. So this is going to be the meta build. This is actually cheaper, I believe, a lot cheaper than the Mutant build. Also, the Mutant is much harder to get and more expensive, I believe, as well. Like before, RSASS, you're going to want to stock up on these. I believe you can get 2 of them for a reset from Peacekeeper. They're like 400, 500 bucks pop, something like that. But yeah, you're going to want to stock up on these for next wipe. And you know, just classic Voodoo. This is my preference. I like the Voodoo overall for Raiders, everything else, Brave Scope. And yeah, it's not too expensive, but you'll see why. It's so good. Look at that ergo, 66.5 ergo. And you have better stats than the Mutant, 41, 110. So, I don't know, you know, the only reason I would choose the Mutant over this gun is just for the coolness factor. It sounds awesome. Otherwise, I would never prefer the Mutant in a, you know, tactical situation. This gun is a lot better, and the stats show it. It's also a lot cheaper too, so, you know, I recommend people take a screenshot, try and use this build. And, you know, I'm not the only one who uses this build. A lot of other people do. A lot of streamers use the same build. That's why when you go labs, you'll find like 4 of these guns, and then people will just strip off the Zakov and the suppressors and just throw this gun on the ground because they don't really need it. But yeah, it's a great gun, and I really recommend people to try and use it. Also, one cool thing with this gun is the Zakov. It's one of those stocks where you can take it off, and the gun's going to decrease in size in your inventory. So it's especially good on maps like labs and stuff. When you kill a lot of people with these, you can just take off these stocks and suppressors, and you'll have a short gun. You can fit a lot of these guns. You can see that I do some of that in my older videos where I spam labs a bunch. But yeah, overall, really good gun. I recommend people try it. Try this build. Let's move on to the next one. Now, the next gun we're going to look at is the infamous VPO, the 366 TKM version. Now, this gun, as a lot of people may know and probably have seen in my previous video, this gun is the gun I use for Lighthouse in terms of rogues. And it's honestly a really good gun, and I'll explain why. So, this gun, it's really cheap. You can get it for about probably 10-15k rubles, the gun itself. And then all you really need for this gun is the scope. Now, the reason I have this scope set here, this is going to be the Tragicon ACOG 4 times. Typically, the scope goes for like 15, 20, 30k rubles. And it's an overall good scope. It's easy to use and it's longer range. But apart from the scope, you can use the plod for earlier wipe when you don't have you know, flea market and stuff unlocked. The plot is also just as good. The only reason I nowadays choose the Tragicon over the plot is just because of the reticle. This one is really not the best. It's a bit scuffed. But other than that, this gun is really good, cheap to use. As long as you hit your shots, hit them in the head, legs, and stuff like that, you can easily kill people no matter what ammo you're using. But with this gun, as you get higher traders, you can also unlock AP. And if you get AP or find it early on and you use it in this gun, it really packs a punch. It can pierce through tier 4 helmets, easily tier 5 helmets even. And you know, as long as you hit your shots in the head, like I said, you're gonna kill people with this thing. I've seen people run this thing full gear before. It definitely packs a punch. But yeah, try this gun out, see how you like it for yourself. It's one of those budget sniper guns that you can use killing, you know, rogues and scavs and stuff like that. Definitely try it out, see how you like it. And on to the next one. The next gun we're going to look at, but I don't recommend this gun for everybody, is the RSASS. This gun is not cheap. This is going to be expensive. But if you have the money, go ahead and use it. This gun is very fun to use, in my opinion. It's one of the better guns in the game. It is very strong. It definitely packs a punch. And it is a fun thing to use, I'll tell you that. So this is the build I use. This is the build a lot of other people use. Once again, RSASS. You're going to have to stock up on those. It's a very good gun, packs the punch. So here are the stats: 43 ergo, 54 horizontal, 54 vertical, 136 horizontal. So, I mean, this gun's semi-automatic. You're not going to be spraying this or anything, but it's more one of those tactical type guns. So, build-wise, you're going to be looking at, like, I think 500k for this gun, and you won't be able to buy it unless you have higher tier traders. I believe you can buy it from Peacekeeper 4 after you unlock a quest or something like that. But overall, try this build out. Voodoo, like always, you know, the only, I think, hard part to get here is going to be, like I said, the PRS QDC and the gun itself. But yeah, try it out, see how you like it. I personally love this gun, very fun gun to use. And on to the next one. On to the next gun, we're going to be looking at the SVD. So this build is very scuffed. I wouldn't recommend too much to use this build, but this is the build I sometimes use if I'm doing like a budget SVD run. So the SVD is kind of like the little brother of the RSASS. It's the same caliber, not the same caliber, but similar caliber. And it's a very strong gun as long as you have good ammo with it, PS, SNB, stuff like that. BT nowadays even. You can quite easily find it here and there. And it definitely packs a punch. You also have 20 rounders. The only really downside with this gun is going to be the recoil. As you can see, 108, 281, this gun is going to have some really bad recoil. And it's going to have it no matter what you're going to use. So really, I mean, this gun is nice, but the reason I have this build is because the parts for this gun are really expensive. And, you know, that's going to happen with other guns. The higher you're going to try and get those stats. So the reason I have these parts on, like I said, is you're going to get a lot of ergo, which is, you know, not a lot of ergo, but you're going to get some ergo with this gun, which is kind of the more or less important thing with this gun, especially with the more stuff you put on it, you're going to have, like, no ergo. I believe these even, yeah, -2 ergo. But this is the cheap build, and overall, you know, just try this gun out if you haven't. It's a really good gun to use, in my opinion. And this is the, like, budget build I use. You can swap, tweak it around, see how you like it. But try it out for yourself and see how you like it. On to the next one. The last and final preset for now. There's definitely other guns I use, but these are the presets I will recommend for people to try out. And the final one we're going to look at is going to be the P90. This gun is a beam. So this is the build, you know, just the regular hollow sight. Maybe you can change this if you don't like the hollow. The suppressor is very cheap as well. But the perks of this gun is it's going to be one of those shoot, like fucking 100 rounds and they die. You're not going to do a ton of damage with this gun unless you hit legs and stuff like that, but it's one of those spray and pray type fun guns. I really recommend people to try out the P90 if they haven't already. This and the MP7. I won't include the MP7, although it's my other favorite gun, and I honestly prefer it more than the P90, but P90 is definitely cheaper and easier to obtain, in my opinion, than the MP7. The MP7 is really nice, but, you know, the suppressor for it, the one you want, it's kind of hard to get nowadays. You have to buy them on restock, and sometimes they're out of stock, so I won't be including that because this gun's a lot easier to buy and build. But overall, I recommend people try this gun, try this build out, see how you like it, and go ahead and try out the MP7 as well. Really fun gun to use, and that's about it for now. Hope you guys enjoy the video and try these builds out next swipe or this swipe, see how you like them, and yeah, good luck next swipe. I'm waiting for it as well.